Imagine going to fill up your gas tank and never coming home. Imagine stopping at a shopping center for groceries and that being the last thing you ever do. For 3 weeks in October 2002, that was the reality for people living in the Washington, D.C. area. Nobody knew who was doing it. Nobody knew where they'd strike next. And nobody, not even the police, could stop them. It started on October 2nd. A single shot fired at a craft store in Maryland. No one was hit. But the next day, October 3rd, became one of the deadliest days in the entire spree. 5 people were shot and killed within just 16 hours. All of them were strangers. All of them in different locations. And all of them had one thing in common. They never saw it coming. A man mowing a lawn, a woman crossing a parking lot, a taxi driver pumping gas. The shots came from nowhere. No sound of argument, no confrontation, just silence, then a body on the ground. Within days, the entire DC metropolitan area, one of the most powerful cities on earth, was paralyzed by fear. Schools canceled outdoor activities. Gas stations put up cardboard screens so people could duck while pumping gas. Shoppers sprinted from their cars to store doors. People were afraid to stand still anywhere. And the police, they were searching for a white van based on witness descriptions. That detail alone may have caused investigators to miss dozens of clues because the real killers weren't in a white van at all. The shooters were hiding in plain sight in the trunk of a beat-up blue Chevrolet Caprice. They had cut a small hole near the license plate. From inside the cramped trunk, the shooter had a clear line of fire. Police drove past that car multiple times during the investigation. John Allen Muhammad was a 41-year-old Gulf War veteran. Lee Boyd Malvo was just 17 years old, a teenager who had been taken under Muhammad's control after a troubled childhood. Investigators later described Muhammad as manipulative and dangerous, someone who had shaped Malvo into a weapon over years of psychological influence. Together, they killed 10 people and wounded 3 others across multiple states, but the DC area became the heart of the terror. The break came from the killers themselves. Muhammad and Malvo left a series of taunting messages for police, including a fingerprint found on a magazine at a crime scene in Alabama that matched Malvo's. Then, they called investigators and told them to check a crime from months earlier in Alabama, which led police to Muhammad's name. On October 24th, 23 days after the attacks began, a truck driver spotted the blue Caprice parked at a rest stop in Maryland and called police. Officers surrounded the car in the early morning hours. Muhammad and Malvo were found sleeping inside. Just like that, it was over. John Allen Muhammad was convicted of murder and executed in 2009. Lee Boyd Malvo, who was 17 at the time of the killings, received multiple life sentences. After years of legal battles over his age, at the time of the crimes, he remains in prison today. The DC sniper attacks killed 10 innocent people and left an entire region too afraid to stand outside. It remains one of the most psychologically devastating crime sprees in American history, not just because of who died, but because of how randomly and how quietly it happened.